Hello friends, in today's video I shall be talking on the life and works of Christopher Marlowe. My name is Navarun Ghosh. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of English, Jagjivan College, Veer Kumar Singh University, Ara. Christopher Marlowe was born in 1564 in the town Canterbury. You might be remembering the year 1564, which was also the year of birth of William Shakespeare. So Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare were contemporary writers, and Marlowe was just 2 months senior to William Shakespeare. He belonged to a very poor family as his father was a shoemaker, and he studied in Cambridge University, although in spite of being poor, because one of his family friends helped him to study in Cambridge University. He wanted to become an actor initially, but after the publication of his first written play Tamburlaine the Great in 1587, he became instantly very popular. And after this popularity, he lived a very bohemian and wretched life. That was a very careless type of life, and he enjoyed himself in eating, drinking, and merrymaking. And at the age of 29 in 1593, he was stabbed by his friend Ingram Fraser in a drunken fight and died. It is believed that they went to a bar in order to drink, and after drinking there was a dispute between these two fellows regarding the payment of the bill, and after that they fought with each other, and ultimately Christopher Marlowe died in that fight. And the epilogue of Dr. Faustus, this is one of his important plays, is inscribed in on his tombstone. Cut is the branch that might have grown full straight, and burned is Apollo's laurel bough that sometime grew within this learned man. Yes, it is true that his reputation and his contribution was limited because he died at a very young age of 29. That's why it is written, cut is the branch that might have grown full straight. So far as Marlowe's temperament is concerned, Renaissance temperament is to be seen in his works as well as in his personal life. He was a representative figure of Renaissance, and because he was an atheist, an epicure, and a mocker of religion, these things constitute that he was a challenger to the norms of the society of that time. And Marlowe's friend come tutor was Francis Kett. He was a mystic and who was burned in 1589 for heresy. So he was also an atheist like Marlowe. Both of them were friends, and certainly there was some influence of Kett upon Marlowe. And Marlowe's friend Thomas Kidd, who was also one of the university wits. There were 7 university wits. Out of them, Marlowe was the best, and another was Thomas Kidd. And Thomas Kidd was also an iconoclast. Iconoclast is non-conventional, and Marlowe was accused of saying these following things, that the first beginning of religion was only to keep men in awe, and that Moses was a juggler and Aaron a cozener, the one for his miracles to Pharaoh to prove there was a God, and the other for taking the earrings of the children of Israel to make a golden cup. So you can see the heretic tendency of Marlowe is evident in his lines as well as his lifestyle. And it was also believed that he wanted to go to France in order to live a life of Roman Catholicism, but it was considered as an heretic activity because during the Elizabethan age, Queen Elizabeth was a Protestant and she was against Roman Catholicism. In Marlowe's works, Basically, we have dramas. The first one, Tamburlaine the Great, which was mentioned earlier in this video, it was written in two parts. The first part came in 1587, and the second part in the next year, 1588. The drama is the story of Timur from being a shepherd to becoming a great conqueror in the army of Mongol. So it is a story of a common man becoming a great conqueror. Then the next drama, Dr. Faustus, which came in 1588, it was the story of Dr. Faustus who sells his soul to a devil in lieu of power and pleasure. It is a man quest for knowledge and power through black magic, and through black magic he calls Beelzebub in order to get enormous power and pleasure, but with a condition that he will ultimately sell his soul to Beelzebub, and this is written by his blood in a bond paper. And the next drama is Jew of Malta. It was published in 1589, and it is a story of Barabbas, a moneylender, and his lust for wealth. And Edward II came in 1592. It is the story of King Edward's weakness and a tragic end. And the dramatic tension is between duty and desire here. Some critics often find homosexuality in this drama, Edward II. And he also wrote some two dramas combining with in collaboration with Thomas Nash, who was also one of the university wits. Those two dramas were The Massacre of Paris in 1593 and Dido, Queen of Carthage in 1593. Marlowe's two important poems are also there, that is Hero and Leander, which came in 1592, and the second poem is The Passionate Shepherd to His Love, which was an unfinished poem, and later it was completed by George Chapman in 1598 after the death of Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe's works, in Christopher Marlowe's works we can see the Renaissance self-fashioning, where he shows the protagonists of his dramas. They try to achieve power, they try to achieve whatever they want through different measures, which can be seen in Tamburlaine the Great, Dr. Faustus, the Jew of Malta. All these dramas we can see the protagonists are overachievers. They try to they try to become over ambitious, but ultimately fail by in the hands of power structure. And Marlowe made full use of blank verse, which is unrhymed iambic pentameter, and it is believed by critics that Marlowe was the first dramatist to make full use of blank verse in his dramas, and he is also credited to be the first sustained analyst of the effects of power and on human being. And this can be seen, as I have mentioned earlier, in Tamburlaine the Great, Jew of Malta, Edward II also, and Dr. Faustus. Marlowe was very popular among his contemporaries. That is to be seen when he died. His fellow writers wrote several lines about him. A few of them are George Peele, who wrote Marley, the Muse's darling; Michael Drayton, who wrote, had in him those brave transluminary things that the first poets had. Ben Jonson wrote Marlowe's mighty line. This is very important. And Thomas Nash wrote Poor Deceased Kit Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe was known as Kit Marlowe among his friends. And the most famous tribute to Marlowe was paid by Shakespeare in As You Like It, where he not only quotes a line from Hero and Leander. That line is, Dead shepherd, now I find thy saw of might, whoever loved that loved not at first sight. So he not only some quote is there in Shakespeare's As You Like It, but also gives to the clown Touchstone. Touchstone is a character in that play As You Like It. The words, when a man's verses cannot be understood, nor a man's good wit seconded with the forward child, understanding it strikes a man more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. This appears to be a reference to Marlowe's murder, which involved a fight over the reckoning, the bill, as well as to a line in Marlowe's The Jew of Malta, infinite riches in a little room. This is taken from Wikipedia. So he was very popular among his fellow writers, which is to be seen from these evidences. And thank you very much for listening. And if you have any doubt, you can put a comment in the comment section of this video, or you can directly reach me at navarunghosh5 @gmail.com. Thank you very much.